Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first ever episode of Easy Dubs. I am your host, Easton Doyle, and today I have on two fantastic golf handicappers. First, we have Ryan from Sharp Minds. How are you doing, Ryan?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. And then our second is Evan from Teaser Nation. Evan, a little technical difficulties, but how are we?
I'm good, man. I'm going off the phone, so hopefully it hangs in there.
Good. Well, you know what? It's kind of what we have to contend with in this business, right?
Definitely.
You know, if it wouldn't be a good first episode if we didn't have a little bit of trouble.
Right.
I think we have a lot of time because it's still raining over there in Ponte Vedra, so you have plenty of time. But
exactly, it doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon, right?
No.
It's just been it's been a downpour. It seems like I heard something today. It was 60-mile-per-hour winds coming in the next few days. So we'll see if it even finishes by Monday. That's the hope.
Supposedly,
it could end up being Tuesday.
Supposedly, there's word that it could move to a 54-hole tournament. Like they'll just cut off the last day, but I doubt they'll do that. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, that could be really interesting. I guess I just want to start off the top. I mean, with the players in mind, I guess. Considering we've only seen one round, what do you guys think? What have we seen so far? Any players that have surprised you? Anybody that's kind of up at the top of the leaderboard that we were a little it's a little unexpected?
You can go ahead, Ryan. Yeah.
I guess what have I seen? I've seen kind of what we expected. I mean, everyone was just chirping about how much the weather is going to be a factor this week, and I think the main thing was I know me and a lot of guys who also like to bet golf on Twitter. We have this group, and we try to find maybe if there was an edge between betting on guys going out late Thursday versus going early Thursday. And you kind of, because we saw Saturday morning would be like these 30, 40, 50 mile an hour winds. So we figured if you go out late the first day and then it gets canceled, you still go out first Friday. And then the late guys might get a time in late Friday, but then have to finish their second round in those wins and trying to make a cut. So I was like, I don't want to really get involved with that. I don't really know if it's going to plan, but that's kind of how I attacked it. So I went for a lot of PM guys. Personally, I like to do a stack for anyone that follows my plays. It's a simple top 20, top 10, and win. But it's like a 2-unit top 20, 1-unit top 10, and then a half unit on the win. So essentially, if I ever win the top 20, I cover usually the entire, because it's usually plus money or even at most. But so if this week I actually went with 3 stacks, which is a lot for me. I usually go 1 or 2, but I kind of went chalk. I went JT and Morikawa, but then I threw in Brooks like the rest of I feel like Twitter world. I mean, when you see a 40-1 out there on Brooks for a guy who just only plays on top competition, top money, and we've seen so far, I think he's 3 under right now, and he has like a chip for Eagle, so you should get another one down there. So he's on fire already. So I just kind of went with those 3 guys. In terms of surprise, I think Adam Scott surprised me a little bit, but I right on 18, he duck hooked 2 straight into the lake, and you can't do that. So I think he made an 8 there, but so he's like +6 now, and you're not gonna make. I think the cut's gonna be. I don't even know if they have it here on Data Golf. It's pretty good.
It might be 1 under, or actually maybe even, honestly, after tomorrow, but we'll see.
I mean, after what we've seen with all this rain, it seems like it's just going to keep going up. It doesn't seem like these low scores are coming in anytime soon.
Data Golf knows, but I know that people on TV were saying like even's not going to get it done, which I would expect because guys are just crushing these soft conditions.
Right.
So I mean, Scott's +6. He's not going to. So he's going to miss the cut, and the guy's been a horse here for many, many years. So he surprised me. But other than that, it's just annoying. But I haven't really been surprised yet. I mean, guys are throwing darts. If you find fairways, you can just stick it close. So.
Yeah, Evan, what about you?
I mean, he touched on a lot of it. I would say, I mean, just for me, looking at the players, like there's always, at the top of the board, some random guys because it's, it's a pretty fair course for everyone. It's, a Pete Dye course, so it's like positional golf. I mean, you see a lot of guys up there. Like I'm just looking now, Bryce Garnett. I mean, Arnabarn, Lahiri, Kramer, Hickok, like a lot of guys. Tom Hoagie, who's been on fire this year, but yeah, it's just a variety of different type of players, short off the tee, some long off the tee. Berger's on fire now, but yeah, that's what I think. And then one guy I'm surprised with, I actually bet on him this week. I'll get to my placements a little later on, but I went top 20 on Fitzpatrick, and he's two over. He went two over today. He looked horrible. I think he lost in every category. Yeah, like -2 approach and off the tee. So he wasn't. I thought he was going to be a little better. I was kind of factoring more of windy conditions this week instead of the rain. I thought it was going to be more wind, so that's why I took him. But it doesn't look like he's going to make the cut. But we'll see what he does in round two. So that's one guy that kind of surprised me with a really bad round today. But
Yeah, I know. I want to say, kind of going off of kind of those points you guys are talking about, some of these longer shots. A guy like Hickok you mentioned, or Lahiri.
right.
When you see a guy like that kind of pop up with a low score on Thursday, or maybe two low scores going into Saturday, how do you look on, like, how do you bet those guys? Do you think they're good live betting guys, or kind of when you see them high up on the leaderboard, are you thinking stay away because they've got no experience?
I'm staying away. Like that's if I usually, I mean, I would say even now I'm staying Fleetwood. I'm sure he'll follow up with a pretty solid round, but I'm gonna stay away from him over the weekend. Obviously, I mean, there's some good odds out there now, but yeah, guys like that, I'm not gonna take Arnabarn or like Hickok over the weekend. I'm just not gonna do that. I'm gonna take someone. Maybe, I mean, last year we saw Justin Thomas. He just made the cut on the line at 2 under, and he goes 10 under on the weekend. So you can get a guy who just makes the cut, and just go nuclear on Saturday. So yeah, I would probably go for someone who just made the cut, or some guy who has potential to go low on Saturday.
Yeah, following up on that, I mean, you see, that's why I strictly, well, I do the stacks, but I also strictly do round by round betting. I don't
Yeah.
do tournament head to heads. And something I've noticed over the last 3-4 years of betting is Thursday is usually my worst round because I use a lot of my stats. I don't want to give away my recipe, but a lot of them don't even apply sometimes. The guys on Thursday go crazy because I think there's a lot of factors. I mean, they're going out at 6 a.m. and there's like 30 people following their group max. They're just stress free. I mean, the pins are the easiest they'll be for the weekend. I mean, you always see the Thursday leaderboard with a bunch of no names, and then sometimes that guy follows all the way through and he becomes like the Sahith Theegala of this year. Like, and he's actually good, but there's guys who can continue for 4 rounds, but most of the time, if you look at the stats, maybe they had a hot putting round, or maybe they were just stroking it, but they're never going to finish it up. There's a reason why they're 200th in the world. They just can't string it together. So, and then you see the live odds often, like they'll be in second place and getting tripled, like 100 to 1, while a guy in eighth will be getting 30 to 1. Like the odds makers know too, and like their interviews, they'll be like, "I'm just enjoying the week" or something stupid. Like
Yeah.
they're not even confident. They just had a good round. So to answer your question, never. I mean, there's a reason why they're giving you crazy good odds when he's in second place. They're not. Thursday's a fluke round for the most part. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not.
I know no, I think that's pretty accurate. I think sometimes we see a guy get hot and you want to kind of ride the horse while he's hot, but that doesn't always work out the right way, especially with guys like Rom and Brooks
Yeah.
and DJ coming in.
Yeah.
I actually want to add
With their
something
major
on the
pedigree.
Fleetwood front. I mean, I like the guy, but I mean he's charm and soft. I mean, we saw, I think it was the Honda maybe like years ago, or maybe it was, might have been Honda or API, I forget, but when he just dunked it in the water when he had the lead. And even on his last 3-4 holes I was watching today, he threw it in the trees every time. Like he got lucky bounces. Like it's Thursday with the lead and he was like still starting to go crazy. And even his last few rounds or last few tournaments, he starts hot and falls off. So
Yeah.
he has actually good stats here, but his game is still not with it right now. So I wouldn't be shocked if he faded in the weekend.
Yep.
His confidence is low. He was saying it again in an interview I saw. Like he wants to play more in America, and he's like, when you're not getting results, your confidence takes a hit. Like some guys play strong. He's like saying it how it is, and he knows his confidence isn't fully there. So I would be actually a fade. I wouldn't be too excited. Good round Fleetwood, but I'm not too sold on that.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back to this weather point because when you talk about Fleetwood, you talk about a guy that's coming from England, right? And so he's dealing with more of those weather conditions. I think another guy is like Shane Lowry.
Don't even
Who,
get me started with him right now.
Don't get you started on Shane Lowry, but he's from Ireland,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking like, are you guys considering him in this, because of his prowess in the tough weather conditions, or does that not really matter that much? Is it more about these guys that are just, they can turn it up when when it gets hot?
Well, I
mean,
thought that with Lowry, so I actually bet him top 22. I do have some guys who are actually doing well, but that's why I bet him, because I thought he obviously at the Honda 2 weeks ago he had a chance to win, but he kind of got screwed by the rain on the last hole. But he usually normally plays well in tough conditions, so I took a shot. I mean, he went one over. He didn't do much at all. He didn't really gain strokes in any part of the game, so I was a little disappointed in that performance. But yeah, I do tend to look at guys who play difficult conditions, from overseas, but sometimes people put too much on that. I think I don't really put too much into it. Sometimes I do for different types. At the Honda, it kind of worked. Arnold Palmer, it didn't really work. It was just a shit show everywhere. Like I had Paul Casey, and he shoots like an 85 on Saturday. So it was sometimes it's a shit show, but yeah, I'm not putting too much into it this week after what I saw.
I mean, so like right now, especially the last 2 days, it's just been rain.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been zero wind, and we can all. I mean, the guys in Florida honestly have probably more success than the guys overseas with this rain. I mean, it rains in Florida all the time, so it's like it was just rain today. If you could get on the fairway and have somewhat distance, the thing was when they moved it back to March, it became more of a distance fest because it's just colder, and then you add the rain to it. But like guys like Kisner are 5 under, so it's not necessarily a range. It's not distance per se, but you just need to be accurate. He's like one of the top 10 in accuracy. He strikes the ball every time. But I think today was just rain. So I mean, once the wind hits, that's when you start looking potentially in the wind players. The thing about Lowry though, I think he went out early, right? So he's going to start like Saturday night if he gets in, and then he's going to have to go through that wind. So if you're at +1 going out late, like it could be hard to shoot a 2 under, 3 under that you need. So, I mean, that's what it comes down to. You need to see, like, I don't know what the cut's going to be, but 1-2. So when it comes to weather, I mean, it was just been rain so far. The flag hasn't really moved. It's going to be interesting on Saturday. I mean, guys could be hitting 5 irons into these greens, but on the 17th, I don't know. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy. I don't think any of us are used to watching golf like that. I mean, I can't. I honestly, I'm not. I'm a decent golfer at this point, but I am not a weather player. So watching these guys go out in those hellstorms is pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. So anytime you can see a guy that can really work it through the rain, work it through the wind, it's it definitely takes another level that you have to get to be able to make win in those conditions.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I would love to go through. I mean, I just was looking up some of the live odds, and I know there's kind of a lot. There's a lot of favorites kind of sitting at the top. Guys like Rahm and Berger and Scotty Scheffler that are all at 12-1 odds, which seems pretty good at this point. But one guy I like, who's actually a hometown kid for me, is Maverick McNeely at plus 15,000. So he's at 1,500-1 odds. What do you guys like in him? Is there anything you see in him where he could have a chance to make a run? Sorry, 150. Yeah, 150-1 odds.
I'm not betting 15. I promise.
that was a mistake. Is there a guy like that? Is there something in him that you maybe see, or
I got 180 on DraftKings. I'm looking at. That's crazy.
180. Yeah, right. Isn't that crazy?
I don't.
Do you even try and take a long shot on that, or
I forget why?
If you see a good something.
I forget. I was looking at a head-to-head against him. I didn't take it, but I don't. McNeely actually had all right stats, but I think the last few tournaments he's been a little off.
Yeah.
Talented kid, but I mean, no, I wouldn't really fly on him. Someone potentially, not to win, but you can get a top 20 plus 170 on DraftKings right now on Victor Hovland plus 170, just a top 20. He actually putted like shit. I mean, he's not a good short game. He's getting better, but like he can actually putt okay. I think he lost almost 2 strokes putting, and he shot 1 under. He was at like 4 at one point, but he gained 2 on approach, which he always does. I mean, you can get plus 170 on just him to top 20. He 100%. I'm not gonna say, don't quote me, but I think that's a steal to be honest. And his top 10, I think, is even plus money too. I think it's like
Yeah,
one or 165 for top 20. Sorry, and then his top 10 is
plus
uh
350. Yeah,
350. That's insane. You can sprinkle on that too. I mean, he just didn't putt well, but he hit it well. You do have to kind of get up and down around here, and that's not a strong suit. But again, we're talking about a backdoor top
yeah,
20. One unit on a 170 sounds good to me. Um, Guys who I think
Yeah.
can pull it through though, or I mean, I almost had Berger. I left him off my card. I'm not going to take him at 11 now, but don't be surprised. He's top. He was ninth last year, ninth I think a few years before that. I mean, Scotty Scheffler. Why not him again? Just keep winning, dude.
yeah.
Yeah, Brooks, but I'm already on him at. He's at 20 to 1 now, but I'm on him at 40. I mean, he looks good. I think the idea is to try to get a guy who's going out early tomorrow, at least around 2-3 under, who can go through that as soon as 11 a.m. starts, and they just have these wet conditions. And they can just maybe get to an 8-9, and don't be surprised if the 8-9 honestly wins it this week with these conditions, unless Monday turns into a dart fest after all the rain. But
Yeah.
so I would look for like a 2-3 under guy going into tomorrow, one of the first guys out.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably a good way to look at it, considering that, you don't want to be playing against the weather. You want to be trying to, make it through while you can and get something posted. So then you're, in the clubhouse looking at the guys outside struggling through it. Ryan, I kind of want to go to you. You've mentioned these stacks a little bit. What goes into choosing these stacks? I know you mentioned a little bit why you choose these stacks, but is it kind of, if you see these favorites, you kind of roll with stacks with them, or is it more specific guys?
I don't try to do favorites. I try to look for, depending on the tournament, a 20 to 1, 30 to 1 guy, and then when you do that, you get like a top 20 of usually a plus 300 and a top 10 of like even 200. So like you get a 2-unit plus 300. That's what, 6 units, and then you just doesn't matter about the rest. But basically, you just look for guys in form. Obviously, golf's all about form. Anyone that plays golf knows if you're going to go out there and hit it well or not. And then you look for a course history, and a lot of courses matter. And then you just kind of, like Evan said earlier, you kind of analyze the course. Like Pete Dye used to be more like a real plotter's course, but again, they extended it now. But so anyone really can win. Well, you just kind of look at what's important. Like par 5 scoring this week is going to be important. They're pretty easy, honestly.
Yeah.
If you can make threes on the four threes, just par, you're leading the field. What else? Yeah, so you just kind of find a few statistics, whether like accuracy matters or distance matters, and then you already have an idea going in who you kind of want, because if you watch enough golf, you know who's in form, and then you just kind of attack. If you're between 5 guys, you honestly come down to, all right, well, who's the better at the par 3? Like, was it API last week? Par 3
Yep.
scoring was very crucial
From 200, yeah.
And then the week before, the Honda, the par 3s there are brutal. So certain tournaments, you just kind of look and you find who's better at what, and then that's kind of how I go about it.
Yeah. For me, I do. I have Fantasy
Yeah.
National. I don't know if you have that, Ryan, but I've gotten into that this year, and I love it. I think I forgot how much. I forgot
good.
how much it is a month, but it's pretty cheap. But this week I just plugged in. You can plug in like whatever stats you want to look at, and then it kind of like models everyone out and ranks them. I looked at obviously fairways gained, because that was important. Obviously, it was more important with the rain. I definitely did par 5 scoring as well, just a little percentage on that, and then definitely strokes gained approach here. Just seeing who on approach is the best there, and then I threw in a couple other stats. But yeah, I usually do that every week. Sometimes it's usually right, honestly, like what you plug in, who's winning. Sometimes there's an outlier. Like the only really outlier this year was at the Honda with Straka. He was like 120th in my model, because he didn't really fit that course. He's not really a accuracy guy off the tee. He's more of a distance, but he hit every fairway basically. So it was more of an outlier there. But usually, if you kind of plug in the right stats, it'll give you that guy in like the top 30.
Yeah. I think your guys' different models about going by it. I think the stats are super important, but kind of go unnoticed sometimes because just they're all I think they're a little confusing to the
Oh
to
yeah,
the average
definitely.
viewer. One of the guys you mentioned,
Yeah.
Sepp Straka. I think it was last week I was watching him, and like over the first 2 days he was just awful. He was absolutely terrible, and it was because he got thrown in a group with two studs. He got with Brooks and Morikawa or something or whatever it was. Do you guys ever look at pairings going into kind of Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, Sunday to determine how you bet, or does that not even factor in? I mean, because a guy like Sepp Straka playing with two guys maybe that are like above his level or something like that, does it matter? Or does it not matter at all really to you guys?
I think for Straka, he could have been playing with me.
Yeah.
You see these guys who come out and 150 to 1 and win. I mean, he was still riding a high. A lot of times, honestly, you fade him
Yep.
come Thursday. If he's a guy who's a long shot, they're just still probably hungover. I mean, he's a Georgia Bulldog. I'm sure he partied a bit. So, yeah, I mean, no, I don't usually look into that. That was an easy one because, again, like that you see that so often. I mean, the same kind of. It's not the same, but it's almost like the Thursday scoring. These guys just fall away. Like they're just not meant to really be there. Good for him, but yeah, that was kind of predictable that he wouldn't play that well. But he still has his win, and it's a very good win at that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my fade of the week.
Yeah,
I think I had Fratelli like plus 150 over Straka for a tourney matchup. It was insane value. I was just like, I'm gonna hit this. So yeah, it was pretty easy. I mean, I'm not too big on Fratelli, obviously. That's why they're paired. But I mean, you still have to take that. So it hit. So that was good.
Yeah, no, I think anytime you're betting Fratelli versus Straka,
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too like.
I don't know. You're
I mean,
kinda
it
all
was
over
just
the place.
strictly a fade of Straka, and Fratelli actually hung in there. I don't know. I think he did make it to the weekend actually, but yeah, he hung in there. Straka went like 5 over the first day, so it kind of already won after the first day. So
All right. Well, honestly, I don't want to keep you guys for too long. It's been awesome having you guys on. I guess with my last question, I just want to finish with my last thing. I want both of you to say who's going to win the players and who's again, I kind of want to go back to this. Who's this, maybe sneaky top 5 that, maybe guys won't expect to see up there.
yeah, I guess I'll start.
Evan, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just gonna throw out a couple long shots. I mean, I don't think they'll win. Obviously, I'll get my winner after this, but I would look at Kisner at 90 to 1. I mean, he's been here before. He actually almost won in 15. He missed that putt against, I think, Sergio. And then I'm looking at Jason Day 50 to 1. I kind of wanted to see. I was going to be on his top 40 this week, but I think he had a family death, so I didn't know how he's going to play, how he's going to react to that. But he actually played really well today. Or I think I think he went 3 under, but he's there at 650 to 1. So he's another guy who's actually been in really good form on the West Coast. He played well at Pebble and all that. So I think there's one guy there. But who I think is going to win, I am still going to roll with my guy, Dustin Johnson, my favorite player. I got him at 45 to 1 beginning of the week. It's just an outlandish number on Dustin Johnson. I don't care if he's shooting a 90 the week before. It's Dustin Johnson. So I'm glad I got that number. But I think he'll win. And then another sleeper, I took him top 40. My play of the week was Brian Harmon, kills Pete Dye courses. I think he's going to get a top 10 here. So that's a top 10, and Dustin Johnson's winning. I'm just going to put it out there right now. So, yeah.
Beautiful. I love those. Ryan, what about you?
So real quick, going on the Jason Day thing, and I feel awful even trying to do that, but I actually took Henley this week over him today. I just didn't think. I mean, you lose your mom.
Yeah.
That's awful. And he was literally interviewed saying he's not in the right place or something. He's just happy for the support. He's not really worried about, he just basically sounded like he had no chance this week. And then he came out and he was 4 under, but he missed a 3-footer on 17. So he should be 4. But so, yeah, I mean, maybe he plays, maybe it's one of those angels above moment. He does win. So I'm staying away from him now. I think good for him. If he wins, that's great. But in terms for me, ironically, the guy who I went with him against, Russell Henley. I can't believe he shot 3 under. He's still 50-1. I think his opening odds were 70-1. So he's like right there. 360 top 10. Give me that. My man is on fire, believe it or not. If you look at his when you look at his recent tournaments, he's just top 20 everywhere sneakily. I don't know his approach is insane. He's just throwing darts. He just is a little bit of a weak putter. I already talked about Hovland. Throw Hovland in there for another top 10 350s. Who do I think is going to win? My boy Brooks is going to win.
I have him too, so I wouldn't be mad at that either. I got him 40.
He's engaged. The only thing about Dustin is all these stops and starts. I think my man he's just too laissez-faire. I don't think he can keep focused, to be honest. The guy's just like I mean, he needs to be just like, you got to be locked in this. And I think Brooks is just like, he just only cares about these. Like, he's so focused on that. He's a money getter. DJ, I think, is just, again, I just don't know if he has enough attention span to withstand stop, start. But he's played well, so we'll see. So I think Brooks is going to win. And throw some money on Henley and Hovland, the top 10 at 350-ish, and throw a little bit more in the top 20. They're both plus money still, so I think that steals. Henley was one of my top guys that I left off my card anyway, and they're still giving crazy odds, and he played great today. So that's what I would say. So look out for Henley.
And
Hovland,
I'm going to
Brooks.
close on this guy. I don't know how you feel about him, but he's Will Zalatoris. I bet him every week. I mean it's a roller coaster, man. If he can make, because he's going to strike his way around. Yeah, no, you're right. It looks like his putting back. It's like a zigzag. He goes left, right on his. Yeah, crazy. So I mean, that's why I was off him this week. He's going to strike his way around this place, but yeah, he can't make a 3-footer. So I mean, I don't know how to feel about him, but he's going to be there. So.
All right. Well, I think those are your guys' last words, Ryan, unless you got anything else. That was awesome. That was really awesome.
Yeah,
thank you guys so much for coming on. I think this was a great first episode. I think you guys were great first 2 guests. Hopefully you guys had fun. We had a nice, conversation about the players while the players isn't even being played. So let's just hope we actually, get a conclusion in the next week or so. And we don't have to, watch them, slosh.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.